tab's concerned is the Properties tab. And the way we don't use the Properties tab is here. We click on this, Properties tab, and you'll see that the Properties tab will change as you use different things. So it will change, it's different for line, for shape, for creative pen, and for text. So the Properties tab is basically a quick way to alter the appearance of objects. So let's demonstrate how that works. So again, I'm going to bring up a new blank page by pressing our blank page here. So we've got a page, for instance. And the first thing I'm going to do is draw a line on the screen. And I'm not going to use the pens in my tray here. I'm actually going to use my pen tray up here in our smart notebook menu. And you'll see we've got a list of pens here. And this actually tells me, if it's grey, it actually tells me what pen is active. So I'm going to go to the first one here. And the first thing we've got is we can make it transparent. So the way I would make it transparent is by doing this to make it transparent, but we're going to demonstrate that in a moment. First thing I'm going to do is change the line style. So first of all, I'm going to make it sort of a thickish line. I'm going to make it red, so it stands out on the screen for me. I'm going to change the line style to a dash instead of dots. And what I'm going to do is start the line off with a circle, but end it in an arrow. And the reason for that is, on this occasion, is if I was teaching in a primary school and I wanted to show the direction of how I was writing a word, this would be a very good way of why using the way that we're doing now is a good example. So I'm going to save the property tools, and you'll see that the property tool has changed from blue to red. You can change it to a red pen. Actually, I'll get a little bit thinner. Save property tools again. You can see it's made a little bit thinner there. Okay. So if you look here, this gives you a good indication. So if I change it to thinner again, you'll see it's gone thinner again. Okay? And what we'll do now is if you write on the board, so I'm going to use my finger to write rather than the pen, and I'm going to write cat. C-A-T. And if I was a student, I would be able to see very quickly where I started and where I finished the word and the direction that I went in. Okay, so that's one area where that would be quite useful. We can actually change the fill effects of what we're doing as well. So I'm going to make my line slightly thicker again. And if I go to fill effects and make it transparent, if I draw across here, you'll see that that line now, I made it thicker and I made it transparent. Okay, we can also page record, but I'm going to page record on another item. We're going to talk a little bit about shapes next. So again, I'm going to bring up a blank page by pressing the blank page option here with the plus sign. So it brings that up. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw a shape. So again, on our menu here, we've got our shape option here. You'll see that we've got a list of shapes here. And I'm going to choose the square on this occasion, like so. Okay. And what I can do is, if I draw on the board now, you'll see that it draws a perfectly ordinary square. But what I might want to do is change the properties of what I'm doing. So rather than change it in the directory here, like of the menu here, like I have with this one, I'm going to change a square I've already created, which is this one above us. So if I use our select arrow, by pressing our select arrow up there, and select here so we can move our object around, we can make that a little bit bigger so everyone can see that on the screen okay. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to give it a solid fill. So if I wanted to, I could give it a green fill like so I can change the colour of it. I could give it a gradient fill. So I've got green at the moment, but to give it a complete contrast, I can make it red. So I've gone from green to red. And you'll see that the fill effects is a little bit more in terms of fill effects that's accessible to me, that wasn't necessarily accessible to me was I was playing with the line. We could do a pattern fill, the selection of patterns that you can use, so I might want to change a grainy pattern like that. But also I have an image fill, and what image fill does for me, allows me to pause my computer and select an image. So I'm going to choose, let's choose, let's say these, this can of dehydrated water, just as a joke. Okay, so you'll see that now I've filled that with dehydrated water. You can actually make it bigger or smaller, and the fill will change as well. I can also change the line style that's around it, same way with the straight line, so I can make it thicker, and I could make it a dot line if I wanted to, like so. I could give the object animation if I wanted to. So what I might want to do is, I might want it to fade in or shrink and grow or spin. So I'm going to make it shrink and grow, like so. So if I tap it now, you'll see that it shrink grows. But what I want to do as well is record, using page recorder, what I've done on the page. So you see page recording just below object animation. If I click on there, if I start recording now, if I could tap it to shrink and grow it, I could also rotate it, like so, and tap it again to shrink and grow it. If I stop the recording, it gives me an option to play what I've just recorded. So if I play the recording by pressing play, you'll see it's the shrink, the grow, the rotate, the shrink, the grow. Okay? And we can also do that from here as well. So we can play back, shrink, grow, rotate, pause. You can actually rotate and pause it, or you can return to beginning by pressing the button that takes you back to the beginning of our presentation. If I play that through and press stop, you can stop it as well. Okay. The next thing I want to show you is using it with the Creative Pen. So, if I bring up another blank page, use the Creative Pen this time, which is a pen with the rainbow colours behind it. And if I was to say, for instance, choose the smiley faces now, Creative Pens we haven't touched on in the session. They're quite useful if you want to do dots on a board to say that you're happy with a particular way a presentation's gone if you wanted to. But I'm just going to go back to Creative Pen again and use the flowers. And I'm going to draw a big S on the board. And again, I can go into line style and I can change the thickness. Sorry, my mistake. I should select it first. So use the select button, select what I'm doing, and change the line thickness, like so. And again, I can page record that the same way we did with the shape. The final way we can use the property tabs is changing the way the text looks. So if I bring up another blank page, and what we're going to do now is select the text option here. And what I'm going to do is double tap the board to bring up our bar for being able to do some typing. So I'm going to type on the board, the keyboard, and tap there to start us off our cursor bar. And what I'm going to type in is smart. So using the shift key to give me a capital first of all, and then type in S-M-A-R-T. You'll see that I've typed it in, smart. Now, what I may want to do is change the property of that, either before I've typed it, or after I've typed it. So if I want to change it after, I simply select it, make it bigger or smaller, so I can make it bigger or smaller. But again, I have all the same options, so I can make it transparent. I can change the line style, or the line colour, sorry, the line fill. I can change the style of it, I can change the font of it the same way you would with Word. So I could change to Arial narrow if I wanted to. I could make it subscript or superscript. I don't want to do either. Or make it italic. I can also set up, I can do object animation, same way we did with the object earlier, the square group, and we can set that to when the page is entered. So if we were entering this page for the first time, so I came from here and I went on to the next page, it should spin for me. Okay. So that concludes the Smartboard Basics session.